Welcome back to the Right Side of Grace podcast. Oh, I'm Addie. I forgot.
And I'm ricblazi.
We're going to talk to you guys today. So last week, if you watched your episode, which if you didn't, you should go back and watch it because it's good. My dad shared his story from Africa. Yep. And I talked about college and being a Christian in college. And I can't remember, what was the political, we talked about the tariffs.
Yeah, tariffs, immigration, stuff like that.
The boring stuff.
Anyway, if you watch it, if you don't.
You can fast forward through that. I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
That's what I would.
All right, today we're doing, talking about kind of like what the reason this setup is the way it is. Talking a little bit about Super Bowl. We had a fun night last night, watching Super Bowl.
That was a really fun Super Bowl party.
It was a good time. The only bad part about the Super Bowl was
get into that.
Super Bowl.
Oh, you were going to spoil it.
No. I'm not going to spoil it. Anyway, so,
oopsie.
Talk about some policies that Trump made that are important to you. And we'll talk about what we're doing next episode. And that's about it. So,
yep. Well, I guess we could start off with our setup. We sit at a table, which just happens to be our kitchen table, where many meals have been shared. Which it is really cool when you think about a kitchen table because it is almost like how do you make the wording? I don't know how I would describe it.
The wording?
Sorry, that's not a good, what would you say?
I don't know.
I don't know how I would choose. Is it choose the wording?
Fine. Yeah, that's good.
But it's almost like Russian roulette.
What?
Because you never know who's going to be sitting at your table.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I don't know if it's like, I wouldn't qualify it as Russian roulette.
Wait, guys, maybe I don't know what Russian
Addie, do you know what Russian
That's when you put a bullet in a gun and you roll the chair.
Okay, so I'm thinking of more like Bean Boozled when you like eat the jelly bean and it's like a gross, you don't know if you're going to eat the cotton candy or like the throw up one. You don't know. Have y'all never played that?
Yes.
No, I have. I'm just trying to figure out where you're going
because
with
listen, when you sit at a kitchen table, especially our kitchen table, it's like you don't know who's going to be sitting there with you. Like, yes, it's probably our family usually. Like, I'm not saying every single night we have someone different. But then there's just random people. And it's cool because you just are all sitting around a table congregating. Like Russian roulette.
Yeah. So like the importance of the table, by the way, this table was actually made by Grant McGinnis.
Shout out.
And
follow him on Insta.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's a wonderful table.
Very good.
Very heavy. But
very
anyway,
sturdy.
The point of what I love about sitting around the table is when I was in college, I mean, not that my family didn't eat around the table, but we didn't have like formal family meals. But when I was in college, there was this one family, the Portnoy family. I don't even...
Dave?
No, not... They may be related loosely. I have no idea. They live in Lynchburg, Virginia.
They're definitely not.
So, and that was like almost 30 years ago. Oh goodness, I'm old. So anyway, Jeannie and I just didn't have any family up there. I was 8 hours away from the closest person I knew. There was this family that invited me over one day randomly after church to their house. And I was like, okay. I went and ate. And they had tables set up in their whole house was just tables and chairs. And she cooked a dinner for our lunch for everybody that came. And she made us sign her tablecloth. So every table had a tablecloth. And she made you sign the tablecloth she gave you a pen or Sharpie or something. You sign your name. And then the next week you came back or the next time that you came back, she had embroidered over what you signed.
Oh, that's cool.
And she's got it somewhere, wherever she's at today. But like, I didn't know that woman until she invited me to her home to eat. She did that every week. She invited random college students to her home and fed them lunch. And then we sat around the table and I became close friends with that family. And, in fact, her family happened to have a daughter that was coached by my wife in basketball. And Jeannie and I, when we met and partly because of that family. So it's just neat how the Lord put all that together. And then Jeannie and I wanted to make the dinner table, a big part of our home. And so we wanted to have family meals together. It was very important to Jeannie and it was important to me. Just because I wanted to be able to talk to my family, talk to my kids.
Yeah.
And Addie is notorious for getting to the table and saying,
how's everybody staying? I forgot the so.
Yeah.
So how's everybody staying?
Exactly. And
no one answers usually.
It just became a big part of who we are as the Blazi family.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of cool because now with the college ministry that comes and eats at the house quite often, they sit around this table and we have had very long discussions.
And we also have had the most random people.
Yes.
But great people.
Yeah.
I always think about when I think about a dinner table, well, obviously I think about my own family and like sitting around a table eating dinner with them growing up, especially in Georgia when my mom, like we didn't live 5 minutes down the road from a restaurant. Like the 5 minutes down the road was like nothing, or you could eat at
let me put it this way. My kids never had a pizza delivered to their home.
Yeah.
Until we moved to North Carolina 7 years ago.
I still haven't had a pizza
there
delivered
you go.
to my
well,
home.
Yeah, you do understand.
Marshville. Marsh Vegas.
Marsh Vegas, baby.
Do they have a pizza place in Marshville?
We do, but Dave's does not deliver. And
is it also, like the one that's in the gas station?
Is it Dave Portnoy's
No, it's
pizza?
connected to the old pharmacy next to the Ford dealership. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so we didn't my mom always cooked growing up. But then I always think about my Nana because she loves to cook for people. And my mom is so much like that. Like she loves to cook for people. She loves to just host and she's so good at it. But my Nana, they do Sunday night dinners and we don't live we never lived close enough. And when we lived in Georgia, we were 9 hours away. But like we have gone to, we went to that one how many months ago? 2?
It was in Thanksgiving.
But it is always something I think it's cool that my Nana does Sunday night dinners. And now we kind of do something similar to that, which is the college dinners, whether it's at our house or somebody else's. But it is something that I think is really cool and it's fun to do. And
it's biblical. I mean, right there on the wall, they broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts. You know, it's a biblical principle to gather around the table, to commune together, to have community. To break bread with one another. This is where you build true.
Has to be sourdough. Just
community.
kidding.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, it's just, it's how I think it's where the most important conversations of our entire family have happened over dinner table.
It's true.
We've broken.
I think that you guys told us we were moving to North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
Right at our dinner table, for sure. Well, we got told that we were coming here for a trip, a weekend stay.
Wow, there was a lot more discussion before that.
No, I don't think I don't know if I wasn't listening, but I just thought we were coming here for the weekend. And then we were on the way home and my dad was like, I think we're going to move to North Carolina. And I was like, what? No, we're not.
Pretty sure you remember that incorrectly.
I remember sitting in the back of the car and being.
Yeah, we had a vote, right?
Yes, we had a vote. And I think I was the only one that voted no.
Oh, okay. I don't think you voted no. I think you said later on, I feel like I was pressured to vote yes.
Oh, from who? Shelby, probably.
No, just, you felt, Charlie said the same thing. Felt like it was didn't matter. I had to vote yes anyway.
Because it wasn't really up to us. At the end of the day, it wasn't.
That's right. It was up to the Lord. How about that?
Sure.
Jesus.
It actually worked out, so it's fine. I'm being dramatic. But yeah, that is cool. I think our table means a lot to us, and we definitely like to eat at it and gather around, and anyone's welcomed as long as you have a shirt on and pants. What's that policy they have at like the restaurants?
No shoes, no
shoes, no
service.
service. That's how it is here too.
Yeah. Actually, we did have a rule. You had to have a shirt on to eat at the dinner table.
Yep. Because in the summer, Jesse and Charlie used to be, not me, more now that they're older. Well, that's not a true statement, but they used to always run around shirtless.
That's right. Well, I think though too that just to kind of bring it back a little bit from your insanity today, is that we would have, we did the catechisms around this table.
Oh yeah, I forgot about not this one.
Well, not this exact table, but our table that's in the garage now. Actually, no, the table that's in the basement. Yeah, the basement table.
I forgot about that. We did that.
Yeah, so we would do those questions, and those simple catechism questions would bring about other questions that surrounded that idea, that doctrine or theology that was being taught in the question itself. And so it was really cool for me as a dad to have that moment, and the kids would ask the most random questions, but then they would ask the most deep and profound questions. And then I would have to answer them.
Yeah.
Or pretend like I knew the answer.
I almost think it's kind of like a time, like blip in the system, because it's like, your life's so busy, you're going all day long. You either got school, work, whatever you're doing in your life. And then there's just like one like hour or however long you eat dinner out of your night that you can sit around a table and just like not think about all that kind of stuff and just think about like whatever you're talking about in that moment. So I think I think that's what's cool about just eating dinner in general, like together with somebody. Like it's fun to just be with people and talk and not always be by yourself when you're eating. And I don't know. I don't like eating alone. Apparently he does. I found that out the other day.
I don't like eating alone at night in my house.
Yes,
but
like lunch.
Man, I don't mind that at all.
Sometimes you need a break from people, I guess.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't think the world is built for that today. Most people don't. I think that there's, people that try to protect that, but it's in the grand scheme and the larger part of the world doesn't eat around the table as much as they used to. And I just enjoyed it. Like, do you remember the questions we used to ask? The 3 questions? Do you remember?
Oh no. The high. I thought yeah, you're high, you're low, and something random.
No, that's when we got here they changed the names.
No.
Yeah.
We always said high and low.
We did that. Well, we had specific names for it.
I don't remember.
Do you remember?
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna give you one and see if you can remember. Highlight.
Oh, hero and hardship.
Yeah.
How did I forget?
I don't know. I felt like you were gonna
dang it.
Throw me on the bus. Like, no, we didn't, Dad.
No, I forgot that I always do high-low. What's the other thing they say?
They do the high-low buffalo.
Yeah, I don't like that. I remember when I first moved here, I was like, what are y'all talking about? It's highlight, hero, hardship. Obviously, I forgot.
So
the best was when you got chosen to be somebody's hero. I loved that. When someone was like, Addie was my hero, I was like, obviously.
Yeah. So let me give a little context to that.
Oh, sorry.
So they know what's going on. So what we would do is every meal, you had to give a highlight of your day or your week or whatever, a hero of your day, like somebody that, came through for you.
Saved the day.
And then a hardship of your day. So like usually it went highlight hardship and then hero, because hero is kind of the one that dealt with a hardship.
It's a compliment sandwich.
Yeah. Good, bad, good. So that's how we did it. And it was neat it actually built a little bit of community within our kids, I think, because, like she just said, it made her feel good when she was a hero. Like,
yeah, but then there was sometimes I did not want to do it.
Well, sure, but then you had to do it
but
anyway.
that's what I'm saying. I think it built us to be like, because not that our family doesn't like to share, but we're not very emotionally we're not like the family that sits around and cries and sings Kumbaya together. Like we're very we're just not like that. And so I think for us, it was kind of out of our comfort zone to look at one another and be like, oh, this is what I'm struggling with, or this is what I enjoyed today, or this is somebody that means a lot to me. So I think it was good because it made us talk about things that we were uncomfortable talking about.
And also I liked you encouraged Jesse. So if you were to say, Jesse was my hero today.
Yes.
And hear Addie say something nice, if Addie gives you a compliment, it is not fake. There is zero disingenuous comments coming from.
That is true, because Addie's I will tell you if I don't.
She just won't say anything. She just won't.
She's a very blunt person.
Yeah.
It's true.
She's the art of changing the subject. Like if you ask her a question about how was this? Did I do well in my talk or whatever? She go, hey, I was thinking, completely change the subject.
Do I really do that?
Well, if you're not giving a compliment.
I think that I just don't want to give somebody a compliment that is not warranted.
No, I respect it. Mad respect.
But I do think I need to be nicer.
Yeah.
That's fine. We don't have to talk about that.
You can be nice and not compliment people. I think that's good.
That's true.
I think it becomes more genuine when you don't just give, flattery for flattery's sake. When you don't just say, oh, that was wonderful, and it wasn't. So I think it's more genuine, it's truthful, which is what we're trying to do biblically. It's a biblical principle to be honest.
But there is good ways to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't have to say you're trash. You
suck. Oh wait, sorry, Christian podcast. I didn't mean to say that. Take that out.
That I hate that word.
I know. I'm sorry. I really could go out with a bang.
My kids, since they moved here, it's just been North Carolina.
I think it's my fault.
So when I moved, no, it's just because when we moved from Georgia, from our cult to North Carolina. No, not cult. Sorry. Like when we moved from Georgia and we were very legalistic. That's bad. It's not bad. I think that, I think
you should have some personal legalism.
Yes, I do. I agree. I think there's always I think there was some good to it. Like we were talking about in our very first episode, good and bad.
Yeah.
But I think when we moved here, it was a little bit kind of we were taken out of that. And I think that's when we started doing bad things. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But that's when we started saying suck.
Yeah. Let's not say it anymore.
I usually don't say it, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, let's move on from that since you're...
Well, I guess if we're talking about things sucking, sorry to put that in there, but the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was just kind of an interesting night. I mean, not the night itself. The night itself was really fun, but I guess just the game in general.
Yeah, I love the party. The thing that I enjoy was just getting the food ready and
yeah, that was fun.
And fellowshipping with other people and hanging out.
There was a lot of people here last night.
I don't even know how many people came.
I don't know either.
I didn't feel overwhelmed.
I didn't feel like it was the most that's been at our house.
No,
but I think it was a bunch of new people.
Yeah.
So that made it seem like there was a lot of people to me. And then fun. We were all outside in the garage, so that made it seem like a lot too.
Yeah. What was the game was terrible. I mean, it was fun if you were a Philly fan, if you loved. But see, I didn't really care who won the game.
I did not know that Anne Hathaway, maybe I'm living under a rock. I didn't know she was a Philly fan. And she was at the game. Did you know that, Allie?
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see her at all.
She looked great.
She was on the TV for maybe 5 seconds.
They should have put her on the TV and not Taylor. But anyway.
Why you got so much Taylor hate?
This is
the right side of grace.
I don't have Taylor hate. I just don't really like her that much.
Okay.
So that's probably it. I don't want to say anything else because I don't want to get attacked.
Calm down.
By the Swifties.
Man.
They're an army.
Grace, right.
That's what I said. I was going to say anything else.
All right. So I thought the game was, whatever it was. There was some comeback at the end. But I did enjoy, there were a couple, so we were in the garage watching the game and Tom Brady, was the commentator for the game. And they showed some full, shots of the guys in the studio and he's standing there and he's got his hands. And one of the guys is like, what kind of watch is he wearing? And so they're all looking it up. It's like an $800,000
no
watch.
Way.
740,000 is the number that I saw.
Is that right? 740?
What?
So they were all talking about an $800,000 watch that Tom Brady's wearing.
You could buy a house and a car and a lot of things for that.
I was going to say, just one house?
Yeah, it's a 740,000 Jacob & Co. watch.
Jacob & Co.
Uh-huh.
It's not even a Rolex.
But I don't know if that's...
Have you seen a picture of this thing?
No. Should we insert that? Or is that really hard?
No.
Okay.
Look here for picture.
You'll see it on the screen.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I'm going to look it up.
Right
or
now.
Allie, text it. Oh, she's got it. Don't even miss it.
It's this gold.
She's the instant.
Oh my gosh.
Best researcher.
I actually do kind of like it though. Oh, that's horrifying. We just got a picture of Kanye West's wife, which we're not going to talk about that. We can talk about that.
That's awful.
Awful. I think I saw, was it Allie Stuckey or I think it was Allie Stuckey that said that I don't know if that's for sure, so don't quote me on that, but that she believed that Kanye was genuinely has demons. Something's wrong with him.
Well, I think, according to Ephesians, I think every lost person has.
Right. But it's just crazy that it's sad because there was a moment of Kanye being maybe seeming like a Christian or maybe seeming like
Yeah.
And then.
I think that was
I don't know what that was. But yeah, anyway, that's crazy. That's the ad that just popped up on my computer when we were looking at the watch.
Yeah, it's just sad. I think that's dehumanizing and for both of them.
Yeah, and then to make somebody like your wife, that's awful. Not good.
Yeah.
Sad. Anyway, back to our Super Bowl.
Well, I did want to talk about just one thing. While we were watching the Super Bowl, do you remember what happened?
Oh, so someone did get arrested.
Not from the Blasey house.
No. We were like sitting in our garage and our garage door was open because it was weirdly warm yesterday. Great weather.
Yeah, it was perfect.
And we had a garage door open and we're sitting there. And then there was like a police car got pulled over. No, a police pulled somebody over. Sorry, not a police car. And then there was another police came up behind
so two guys pulled this guy over. They get him out of the car.
Yeah, no,
and then
not at first.
Well, they come up and they get him out of the car while we're all standing there. All the kids in the garage run out of the garage into the driveway. Like it's 100 feet from my driveway to this road, I think.
I just added this picture. This is a picture of our kids, Pastor Campbell, videoing this guy. I think at this point he's getting like,
and there's Nick.
Maybe it's 300 feet.
He's getting like talked to. They're doing like the nose test on him right now.
Yeah, it's picture. Not like it's right there, so you can see how close it is. But so the worst part was like they get him out of the car right about the time where I think Cooper DeJean, whatever that guy's name. DeJean, where? I don't know his name.
Is he from Charlotte? No.
I thought he played at Iowa.
Oh yeah, that's right. What am I saying?
I don't know.
Caitlin Clark's friend. Me and Joe were making a joke last night that Caitlin Clark made Cooper DeJean. And everyone was like, no, he didn't. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, so he intercepts that ball and runs for touchdown, and everybody in the garage starts like cheering.
Because, by the way, he's 22. Crazy.
Yeah. It was his
rookie
yesterday.
Year. Yeah. So everything's perfect for this kid in this one moment. And so everybody, did we have any Chief fans? Anyway, everybody in the garage is cheering, screaming and hollering. And that guy is getting it.
He's getting drunk driver for testing. DUI.
Like
they were trying to do the line.
How do you get a DUI, your car towed, and people cheering at the same time?
Keep in mind, it's like 8:00.
He got pulled over. I was talking to one of the girls about this. They had just gotten there. It was like 7:30, 7:45 when they got there, and he was like already being pulled over.
But crazy because, I mean, I guess because it's Super Bowl night. But like, I mean, what are you doing, dude? It's 8:00 at night on Sunday, and you're getting pulled over for drunk driving. That's just a little.
That's tough, man.
That is tough. Not a good situation right there.
That's where, like, the world chasing things that will never provide the value.
No, it will only end in that
fulfillment that you need. That's why the necessity of Christ in your life. I'm not saying Christians don't do dumb things and find themselves in bad situations, but no matter who you are, a Christian struggling or some non-Christian chasing after some kind of fulfillment or trying to, everybody says I needed to blow off some steam, so I had to have a drink to calm my nerves or whatever, to find some kind of stability. That's sad to me that you have to find some kind of hope or fulfillment or calmness or steadiness in a cup or a bottle. It's terrible.
It's terrible. Yeah, that was definitely interesting. I've never seen somebody get, I've never seen somebody get arrested like right in front of me, kind of like that.
Yeah.
So that was crazy.
Can't say that.
Okay, well, you want a cookie or something?
Nope. Let's talk. No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We can talk about Trump being at the Super Bowl.
Let's talk about Trump.
Yeah, we can. Because what I thought was really interesting, because I didn't know that he was the first president to ever go to a Super Bowl, which I think is crazy. And he said, he was like, that's so shocking to me as well, because why would you not? I mean, it's so American.
Yeah, it is definitely American. It's definitely something.
I mean, if I was the president and they were like, oh, you can get tickets, why would you not want to go to, like, you can go anywhere. I think about if I was the president, you can go to any sporting event. He can go to the Olympics. Yeah. He can go, wait.
What are you going to say?
Will he be able to be when is the next Olympics?
Well, the Winter Olympics.
Well, obviously he'll be. Trump can get a ticket to anywhere, so it doesn't matter. But like, still, they can go anywhere, and we cannot.
Yeah. Well, I think when the president travels, there's a lot to it. It's not like you and I going to the store.
But if he asks, or if he's
yeah, but I mean, it costs, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or maybe even more, but for him to go somewhere.
Oh,
It's got security detail. They got to, section off parts of the stadium, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was really cool that he was there. And obviously, so did everybody else in America, because they went crazy when he got posted on the screen.
I think it was the national anthem, which I don't know if I was a fan of the national anthem this year. I don't know. I mean, it's just.
Wait, I don't know why.
Well, it didn't appeal to me. When they started playing it, I wasn't quite sure that it was the national anthem. And then, it just wasn't my flavor. It wasn't my taste.
Well,
but
it was cool that he was there, though.
When they showed him and they went crazy, it was like, wow.
It was a really good response.
Because, which is interesting that the culture is accepting him at a different rate than they did last time.
Yeah, I think his approval rating right now is like 58%. And at this time last year, he was at like 30, or last term was like 31%.
That is crazy.
And with the young people.
I think it's because
popular,
he's
which
just
is crazy to me, because they hated him the first term.
I think it's because he's just doing what he said.
Well, he is doing some of those things for sure. I mean, he's not going to do everything that, things that he does. Obviously, I'm not going to like everything he does. And, there's not a single person in the world that we approve of their entire life. So certainly we won't do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Trump. But one thing I do think that he's doing well is the couple things. I'll say one that I like, and then you can say one you like. I like. So he's got this, everybody knows the legacy media and Trump do not get along. He hates them. They hate him. And it's just a hate relationship. So what I think is cool, though, in the White House briefings, he's made a space for, freedom of the press for just regular people, but podcasters, these, not like us, but we could apply. Seriously.
We ain't getting on that.
Well, obviously we're not, but there's 11,000 people that have podcasts that have applied to be on there.
Well, it is
and
cool.
It's not, it's not just like a right-wing podcast. It's anybody.
Well, was it in the Daily Wire? They were talking about how he, this might not have anything to do with what we were just talking about, but when he was saying that Trump kept on the liberal workers, do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay.
That's with like Doge.
Yes, with Elon Musk and everything. But whenever he took over from Obama, he left on the workers who was it that he left on?
There was a department that Obama had set up.
And he kept it, right?
Yeah.
Because
he kind of let them exist as this liberal thing.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the details. I really want to.
But they did talk about, in relation to this with, specifically in like the Pentagon, there are offices for the media who have like seats in their press briefings to like stay and work, and they have like those working offices. He established this like year to year, like you have a year to be in these offices and then someone rotates out. And so there are people like the Huffington Post who are extremely liberal that now have an office because they've rotated out these old
interesting
legacy medias. And so he's opening this up again, not just for the right wing, but for everyone.
Yeah.
And we have the freedom of press. That's part of the Constitution. There's not like a national like agency that is over press, and you get some kind of license, like you get a driver's license with a card that says you're now press. You can apply for media credentials to anywhere individually, and it's just up to that.
Yeah.
Well, it's to give it to you.
It's a great way to reach, I would say, our age.
I think it's a very,
because everyone loves like podcasts and stuff like that, and I feel like people will definitely be more receptive.
Plus, they're not getting paid by big, huge corporations that own them, and if they say things that this corporation disagrees with, they can get fired. Podcasters, they're their own. Say what they want to say.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
So they can be honest. And they can ask good questions, or hopefully they'll ask good questions.
Yeah.
But it's good that they're in the room. I think that's neat. I think that's a benefit for America. A win on every side, because it's not just limited to certain parties, certain affiliated.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. Right. So one that I like is Trump banning men from women's sports.
I'm glad you finished that. Your pause was kind of long.
Banning men from America. They all have to go back, go to overseas. No, I think that's great for women.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah. I think that if we continued in the way that we were going with transgender, whatever, entering in women's sports, women would, not that I think, I hate the whole argument, well, women are just as good as men. I'm not taking away from that in any sense. I think that there's different levels to the capacity women can compete and that men can compete. And I just don't think that it would be fair to let transgender men into women's sports. Not only just competitive wise, but just in that environment in general. It's not okay. And so I'm glad that he's stepped in and said, no, that's ridiculous. Because it is ridiculous. When you think about it, if we would have said this 10 years ago, oh, by the way, you're going to be playing against a guy and it doesn't matter what you say, you're going to have to play against him. It would have been a different conversation. But now that we're in this day and age that we're in, where we have to be accepting of everything, I think it's well, it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. A 5'8", 9" girl going against a 6'5" man isn't going to match up at the end of the day. So I don't know. I just think it's a great thing, and men should not be in women's sports. And if you're not good enough to be an athlete as a guy in guy sports, then maybe you should be playing sports. I don't know. I don't agree with a guy entering in a woman's field.
Amen.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's a big deal. I mean, I've always said the whole transgender movement. I thought, the Christians obviously disagree with it, but I thought that just sane people would realize, just in sports.
Yeah, you don't
just go to sports.
It's not I feel like you don't even need to be a Christian to sit there and look at something okay, a guy and a girl, maybe they shouldn't be playing against each other in sports.
Right.
And I get oh yeah, you can have fun, but at the collegiate or the professional level, no.
I think, the rise of women's sports right now, you might be in trouble.
The men should be scared. I'm just kidding. But genuinely, I
the NIL deals. I think women by far make.
100%. Well, because I just think girls are. I think women's sports is, people are oh, this is actually fun to watch, and I think men's sports.
I'm statistically just guessing there. I don't know.
He definitely doesn't know.
Are you saying no?
At most schools, men earn the vast majority, but I'm not sure if that goes into
I wonder what the top NIL winners.
Probably Livy Dunn.
Angel Reese. Sorry, I know you're an Angel Reese hater, but she
that name cannot be said on this podcast.
Grace.
I don't give a crap. I don't care.
Our number one is Arch Manning, Cooper Flagg, Carson Beck.
Oh,
Livy Dunn.
Good job, Carson.
Carson Beck made $4 million.
Well, they gave him money to go to Miami, right?
He's going to make more money at Miami than 9 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, that's okay. I do think that men's sports is still super important, and I am a big supporter of men's sports. I watch it all the time, so I'm not taking away from that.
No.
But I also think that girls' sports have their own area.
Right. But you don't see the other way around. You don't see okay, I'm going to turn.
Right. I'm not going to go play linebacker at Georgia just because I want to. And I'm you're not going to do that. So
you're not going to be successful.
Right. No, I'm going to get stepped on.
But you only see it one way, as the success. Maybe somebody's trying to do it, but you don't see the success. When a man transitions to a woman and then goes into biking, he dominates. He's going into swimming or whatever. And he's way down the list on the men, but he's actually winning in the women's categories.
At some point, when do we accept that that's a little bit of a, what's the word that I'm trying to think of?
I don't know, but I think Allie had a thought.
Well, I think that's interesting about Leah Thomas. whatever his original name was.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I just don't know what his name is off the top of my head. He was not succeeding at UPenn in the men's swimming, went to women's and still wasn't like, yes, he won like 5th place or whatever, but he still wasn't the top swimmer.
Right. Like that's embarrassing.
But it's still considered a success story because he got a trophy. I mean, should he have gotten it? No.
No.
It was a photo op. Mm-hmm. Thanks for the gains, but.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's a win for the women. Whether you like it or not, feminists or whatever, it's a win.
No, I think it's a big win for the women. It protects. It actually does what everybody really wants, and we want to protect women and their ability to play sports in their own space.
Yeah,
and
because if
in
it's
a safe manner, there's just too many reports.
Right. If it continues,
volleyball, somebody getting smacked in the face with a volleyball, concussion.
Well, because if it just continues down that path, men are just going to take over women's sports because. Somebody that's like, oh, I want to get ahead and I'm not very good in the men's department. Why not just go play? If I can play for the girls, why not? Like at some point, people are going to start doing that. So it's a big win. I'm glad Trump did that. So.
All right. Well, me too. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do next episode. Just for 1 second.
Okay. Oh yeah, because.
Lotta is going to come visit with us.
AKA are you going to say that?
Mechanic.
Yep.
You don't like that, do you?
Well, I didn't know the story, but I think now you should say why you call her that.
So
in short.
And he's like, who? What? I've never heard anybody.
Yeah, nobody's called Lotta the mechanic.
And I was like, yeah, but the other day she texts me. She's like, my car broke down and she couldn't get her car in gear. And so I, through a series of investigative, Googling and talks with her, we figured out it's the shifting cable in her truck, and she's missing a bushing. So I sent her a video, and she fixes the car herself. I mean, Lee helped her just a little bit, but he had to take care. Something come up, so he had to leave her, and she fixes the car. She fixes it by herself. Goes to AutoZone, buys the part, comes back, puts it together.
That is such a big difference of me and Lotta. My dad asked me to go to AutoZone, and it's like pulling my teeth trying to go in that place. I hate it. Yeah. She is an interesting girl. That's crazy.
So she fixes her own car. So I told her, I said, I'm going to get you a mechanic shirt and your name tag. It says Lotta.
She already has the hat. I'm excited because we're going skiing on Friday. And she's from Germany. So she's like grew up, like she's going to be so good. And she's good at everything. So
yeah, she's pretty good at everything.
That would be cool. So yeah, she's from Germany. Well, I guess you'll hear more about her next week, so we won't share much of her story.
Don't share anything else,
but
we'll hear it next episode.
That's going to be exciting. So. She is a woman in the sports. She plays Charlotte volleyball.
Anything you want to add about today? I did want to mention the Super Bowl halftime.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I think we should talk about the Super Bowl halftime, and then we need to talk about Beast Games, and then we can be done.
Oh, Beast Games.
We haven't spoken about Beast Games. Our family has been. This is embarrassing slightly, I know, but...
No, it's not embarrassing. It's fine. Say it.
Mr. Beast, that is slightly embarrassing that we watch that, but we do watch the Beast Games. I haven't seen the last 2 episodes, so I don't really know what's going on.
Let me tell you what happened.
Well, I'm at a crossroads. I want to know, but at the same time, I want to watch. But I didn't know the final was this Thursday.
Yeah, that's it. Last one.
Because I'm still on the episode where Dino is on the, and he's like, pull the trigger. You know what I'm
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm like, people on that show make
kind of like, do you know anything about the Beast Games?
No.
So do you know Mr. Beast?
Owie!
Yes. Yeah. Okay, I know about them. I haven't watched them personally.
So he's like giving away $5 million, and he started with like 1,000 people, and it's whittled all the way down to
6 now.
6. Actually, 6 is the last.
That's what I knew. I know that.
And they play a game to the final one.
They play stupid games.
They're odd.
Is it based on like Squid Games?
It's kind of like Squid Games. It's like Survivor. It's like
I don't know anything
every
about
single
Squid Games.
like game show, like survival show that's ever happened. It's like a knockoff of all of them combined.
But he does stuff like, hey, who's your best friend?
It's super psychological.
And you say, this is my best friend. We're best friends. Okay, we're going to lock you up in a room, and you have to decide who's going to go forward. So it's just
there's different challenges. Yeah. Challenges are psychological or they're physical or like, but a lot of them I feel like have been more like, who's your friends?
Yeah.
And I think in my head, I'm going after $5 million. Yeah. So like, I don't really know how deep my friendships are going to run, but I think I would be like, I'll give you $250.
Yeah.
Like $250,000 if you keep me in this game. Yeah. So when you're in moments like are you going to stay on the track or am I going to choose the Lambo?
Choose the Lambo. Like, here's my thing.
But I know I'm saying, but I'm creating.
Yeah, I understand.
That's not a good idea. I thought that was a good idea.
Well, I mean, I would have chosen that $1 million. There was one episode.
They choose it.
Where you're trying to get rid of a bunch of people.
Like a whole line.
They put 4 people up and everybody had like 25 or 250 people or whatever it was. It was a ridiculous amount of people. And so they started the counter at 1 cent and they just pushed start and it just rose
and whoever
all the way to $1 million. And whoever pushed that button, one of those 4, they got whatever was on the ticker.
And they got to stay in the game.
And they stayed in the game. And they eliminated that whole row.
So then
if your goal is to eliminate.
And you get a $1 million, and then everyone's like, well, then you would be hated. I'm like, you're still going home with $1 million.
Right. The chances of you and 1,000 people winning the $5 million and you got a guaranteed meal, plus you get the chance to continue on.
I hated the chick that won the island. I didn't like her at all. I was so happy when that guy.
A lot of these girls, though, they lose their minds. Everybody's
they get real
anxious and whatever.
They get real pick-me.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I wanted to talk to you about that question. You get that kind of, you have a particular opinion about anxiety, right?
I love how we're segueing in this serious topic. Yeah, I don't know. My opinion on anxiety is kind of different than a lot of people's opinion on anxiety. I think that as believers, you can have anxiety, but I don't think it should be something that should overtake your life. My dad has always said this one thing. When we were growing up, we would go to Six Flags in Georgia, and like obviously that wasn't cheap, so we had to ride the roller coasters basically, and that wasn't something that I really wanted. I was interested in when I first started. He knows, and I didn't when we first went to Six Flags, I wasn't like super into the roller coasters. And so I remember I finally kind of got over the bridge. My first roller coaster was American Scream Machine, the big white one. And I finally had gotten over the bridge of riding one. But my dad always told me because I would get so nervous and so anxious in the line leading up to the roller coaster.
We're in the queuing line and
freaking out.
Not even close to the actual roller coaster.
I don't know if I can do it. And he would always be like, is it time to be scared? And I'd be like, no. Or he would say are we on the roller coaster? And I'm like, no. He's like, so is it time to be scared? And I'm like, no. And then once we would finally get on the roller coaster and we were buckled in and we were all about to go down that big first drop, he'd be like, okay, now it's time to be scared. So I think I've kind of taken that one weird advice and used it in the rest of my life, because I think about times that, I get really anxious or I'm worried about something and I'm like, is it time to have that feeling right now? Is this the moment that I should be so nervous? And it's no, it's really not. And so then once you get to that moment of when you're nervous or you're anxious and that moment actually happens. And I think then that's the time that you can be like, okay, I can be nervous for this. I think if you're speaking at something and you're that week before, you're so nervous the whole week and it's eating you alive. I just don't think, I'm it's not time. I think it's time when you're 2 minutes before you're about to go up, you can be nervous then. I think that's helped me do a lot of things in life. It's helped me walk into a lot of doors that I didn't want to go into. It's helped me introduce myself to people that I didn't want to introduce myself to. It's it's important. And I think anxiety is something that we use in the world today, and it's a crippling effect to people, and they let it almost take over their whole life because they're so nervous about what's going to happen. And they don't just see that God's in control. And I think as Christians, that's one thing that we miss with anxiety is that not that I think, well, I do think it's a sin to be anxious, because I think ultimately that God has a plan for our life. And if you're not trusting in that, then you're going to have this overpowering anxiety. But if you're trusting in it, you can settle and know, I'm going to be okay. And I'm not saying you're going to be perfect. You're going to have moments where you're stumbling and you're like, oh man, I'm not trusting the Lord. And that's fine. But I think keeping yourself in check and being okay, am I anxious because I need to be, or am I anxious just because like I don't think that God has a hand in my life? And so I think that's what's important to me when I talk about anxiety, because I think it's something that we use, and I think it's really crippling to kids and kids like people my age and adults. I think it cripples people, and I think it's not something that you should let cripple you, but it's something that you should let like boost you.
Yeah. It needs to be confronted and challenged, like your anxiety. Like everybody has anxieties because the Bible's clear. Like 1 Peter 5 tells us to cast our anxieties on him because he cares for us. So that means if he's telling us to cast our anxieties on him, that means that we have them to be able to cast them on him. But he's wanting to carry us, like the scripture that tells us to all those who are heavy laden and burdened, like swap yokes, like let me take those. And that's the point I think you're making, is trusting the Lord through that. I think the anxiety it's common. It's not something that everybody has it, but you got to deal with it in the appropriate way. And you got to recognize what it is. It is tied to some kind of pride. Like in 1 Peter 5, he ties that how to attack anxiety with being humble. And he even says like God resists the proud. It's like a stiff arm, and he gives grace to the humble. So be humble and trust the Lord. You don't have to get your way, but anxiety comes from like, how are people going to perceive me if I don't speak well, or if I don't do this well, if people don't like this podcast, am I going to be like, what? Look, the Lord's in control. I can't control my life in all the areas that I want to. And I have to recognize when I start to feel these things in my life, I've got to resist that temptation to feel, or cast it to Christ. Look, you know my heart. I'm anxious here. I am scared to death for whatever reason, whatever it may be tied to. I need you to take this from me, Lord.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to have anxiety. We just need to know what to do with it.
Right.
And to give it to Christ and trust him through it. Like, I am afraid, but I trust you, Lord.
Yeah.
I am anxious, but I trust you, Lord.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. It's just knowing, like recognizing that you can be nervous. I think there's a big difference in nervous and anxiety. I don't think that everyone in the world struggles with anxiety. I think a lot of people are just nervous, and that's okay. And at the end of the day, that's pride. You are shy. And like everyone can, like not everyone's going to be able to go stand in front of 1,000 people and speak, but I think like you can say, oh, I have anxiety, but really you're just like, you're just nervous, and it's okay. And you can get over that. And I think it's just to know, like, it's not time. Don't be nervous until it's time to be nervous. Like if you have a speech, don't be nervous until you're about to go up there. And with anything, if you have a big meeting, if you have to go talk to somebody you don't want to talk to, I just think don't let your nervousness take you away from
the fear of like leading up to it way before.
Because once you get to that moment,
crippling, that can be overwhelming.
And once you get to the moment, it's going to all work out. And maybe it doesn't, and that's okay.
Well, I think like in the moment, you don't have time.
Yeah.
Like by the time you get to the actual moment, you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to perform. You got to go.
Yeah.
You don't have time to let that, because it's like letting bitterness fester in your heart. It's the same thing with anxiety. It's going to cause problems in your heart. It's going to cause distrust. It's going to cause a lack of faith. It's going to cause you to second guess, have doubts, all kind of things in your heart. So
yeah,
those are things I think are good. Well, I think that's probably about all we got for today.
Yeah. Well, see you next week.
We get a handshake.
Goodbye.